What's up guys, in today's video I interviewed a software engineer, Leo Acosta. He has 3 years of experience and he's working in a consulting company. I find him super interesting because he also has 3 different side startups where he's working as a CTO, Chief Technology Officer, but his day-to-day job is at a consulting company as a software engineer. So extremely humble guy, extremely smart guy, and he gave us feedback in this video and insights of what was his road like as a software engineer, how he got where he is now, and just overall tips to people out there that may be fresh out of school, struggling, or just overall software engineers that just want to know other people's insights. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I hope you guys like it. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll be posting a lot more videos of the peers in this industry. You don't want to miss out. So you're a software developer now, right? Yeah. Where do you work at?
Right now I'm working at Code Authority.
Okay, and how long have you been there?
About to be there for 2 years in November.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How you like it?
I really like it. From what I hear, I think I prefer working at a smaller company like Code Authority as opposed to working at a bigger, I think 100 plus would probably be too much already, and Code Authority is almost getting there, but I like it.
What's better about working in a relatively small company versus large?
You have a lot of freedom to experiment and learn and like throw ideas, and people are more receptive, whereas if you were in a bigger company, again from what I understand because I've only ever worked at Code Authority, you kind of have like one specialization and you don't really move outside of that box. And like people trust you for the one thing but not really anything else.
Yeah.
Whereas at Code Authority, we get projects all the time, and no one is the expert really on like one or two things. Everyone kind of has a diverse skill set.
So what do you do at Code Authority? Do you kind of touch on many different tasks, or are you specializing? I know you worked in Xamarin a lot, right?
Yeah.
So do you still do just those, or do you just touch on many tasks? Whatever comes on the way.
Whatever comes the way. I mean, sometimes it's a Xamarin project. A lot of times it's ASP.NET, MVC applications. We've recently started getting into React native stuff a lot, so that's really fun.
Do you have a favorite?
Right now, I'm really getting into Vue in.
I worked with Razor. I've worked there quite a bit. I can't stand Razor.
Why?
I don't know. I just can't stand it. Although they came out with a Blazor now, which is like a new version of it, which I want to give it a try.
I tried it immediately as soon as it came out, or like they were doing the release candidates.
Yeah.
And I personally really like it. I think it came out just late enough for me not to ever implement it.
Yeah.
Because again, like I'm getting into React and Vue, and that already handles a lot of the client-side stuff that I need it to do. Why would I be using Blazor? Like, why would I be teaching myself Blazor right now?
Yeah, yeah.
I think that if you are coming from a back-end development background right now, and then you move into Blazor in the next year or two, perfect. But if you know any JavaScript and you feel comfortable in a JavaScript framework, really there's no need to go to Blazor right now.
Yeah.
But it's super useful for those C# people, right?
Talking about kind of Xamarin, going back on that. So did you learn that on your own, or how did you learn Xamarin?
I have personal clients that asked, hey, like, can you do any mobile development? And I thought, no, I absolutely can't. I'm gonna go learn it.
Right.
So I thought that the best way to learn was getting a Xamarin certification. I don't think they actually do those anymore, but that's how I learned.
How
Xamarin.
was it? How hard was it, like getting the certification? How long did it take you?
Considering that that's all I was doing, it was like in the middle of summer break,
and
I like the 2 weeks that nothing was happening. I think I studied for those 2 weeks straight, nothing but that, and then like plus another week of like classes and studying Xamarin. So about a month to get the cert.
Did you get certified in the first run, or did you have to do multiple tries?
Oh no, I had to do it twice.
You did it twice, okay.
Yeah, because I didn't really know what I was getting myself into at first. Like it was my first cert, it was my first like software development thing. So I didn't know how the test would be, what I should and shouldn't be studying. So again, the second time I knew exactly what I was doing and passed really well.
Do you think that was the biggest push for your Xamarin experience? If you had to go back, would you still do that certification, or would you try something else?
I mean, I think now that I have a lot more experience and I can point to my experience and say, hey, like, I know what I'm talking about. I don't really see the point for me to go and get a cert, unless, of course, like I'm looking for a job and I just want to be able to say, like, here's my experience plus here's certifications. Like, certifications help, but in terms of you just want to apply it, no, just teach it yourself. Like, there's no reason for you to be like, look at this official piece of paper that says I can do the thing. Can you do the thing or not? And if you talk to anyone that knows the technology you're talking about well, they can immediately tell, like, okay, you know what you're talking about or you don't.
Being up to date with modern technologies, it takes quite a bit of work. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, but I mean, the technology is changing every single month or so. There's some new coming up. So it's like some people, they're like, hey, I'll stay with my Cobalt or Visual Basic or whatever because I know that I want to learn new things and I know I'll have a guaranteed job.
Speaking of updates, I have a coworker that has Angular. He's following Angular on Twitter, and he recently realized that their mission statement is updates every 6 months. And that potentially comes with breaking changes. So imagine like having to keep up with just one framework like that. Not to say that it's impossible or difficult, but that's one framework. If you want to be a well-rounded full stack developer in multiple stacks, like it's really difficult to keep up with. I know that another coworker tries to keep up with all of the React incompatibility issues with libraries that he likes using, and he vents to me a lot about his frustrations with it.
So that being said, I mean, how fast the modern technology changes, what do you do to stay on top of it?
I think I mentioned before that I have 3 clients of mine, and calling them clients is kind of misleading. They're business partners, but in 3 different startups, and they all require vastly different stacks. So just keeping up with those and making sure that I'm applying the right technologies there helps me a lot. And working at Code Authority again, I mean, if someone comes in and says, oh, we need a Flutter application, of course the biz dev people say, yeah, we can totally do that. Hey, can someone pick this up? Do we have someone in-house that can do this? No? Leo, you free? Let's get you on a Flutter project. And don't get me wrong, like I say that kind of like it's a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It allows us the opportunity to learn that technology and apply it. Whereas again, in bigger companies, you might not ever get the opportunity to learn something new.
Yeah, and I think that's the kind of there is a difference with the consulting company having so many developers around you. You get the ability to learn from each other. Versus some other companies that may not have as many developers or maybe like more solo developers. They have to kind of use other options for them to like stay on top of technology. So do you ever go to events or any kind of seminars for the developer?
No, I wish I could.
Does your work support those kind of expenses?
They do, but it's a little harder to come by. It has to be very related to something that we're currently working on or something that they see value in immediately. So I know I brought up something about going to one of the Microsoft conferences in New Orleans, and they would have said yes if it was in Dallas. But it's just too far out of the way to like say, oh, go to New Orleans or go to San Antonio, or because I saw that you recently went to a Couchbase event.
It was San Antonio. That was very. I mean, like you said though, I think that us ourselves, we have a budget too for those kind of conferences, especially we have a smaller team, so we have to use those events. Otherwise, it's really hard for us to stay knowledgeable with this technology. But we're using Couchbase in our systems heavily, so there was a perfect time for me to get more knowledge out of it and ask questions. So, that's. But you also work with many side projects, so that helps you. That almost forces you to stay on top of it and learn more as much as possible. Cool. So, when was the first time you wrote your first code?
First code, I think.
And what was the project?
In high school, I I realized very early on that like I wanted to be a developer, or like in my mind at the age of like 5, I was always like, I'm going to be in STEM. I don't know what in STEM, but I want to do that. And I think I was in high school and I realized that I had no experience yet. I think it was like senior year, and I took it upon myself to be like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to build. I'm going to build something. And I started developing on Raspberry Pis. And I made a little like rover that I would control with a Wiimote. And it was really, really bad. It was poorly made. It was like an Amazon box on servo wheels. And the wiring was horrible, but it taught me how to learn how to write Python and how to use hardware along with software, which was super, I think, crucial in my development, and like knowing for a fact that that's what I wanted to do. I think I was 17, and I just picked it up myself as best I could. Again, nothing about this program was optimized. I'm pretty sure if I went back and looked at it today, I'd be disgusted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was looking at my GitHub because I mean, firstly, I respect what you do. I mean, that's something that like I value a lot, because in the sense that even if you're in school or if you're software or whatever, you have to do those kind of projects for you to be able to learn. Like I was looking at my GitHub account and I had, I don't know, 40 projects. And the first project that I wrote, I looked at the code and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is trash, literally trash.
Yeah.
You have to write trash code. You have to just pick up projects on the other side. Otherwise, you just won't learn as fast. And you need some sort of projects like that. That has probably helped you get your first job. But how hard was it landing your first job?
I wouldn't say too difficult. I think I applied to 10 places, and none of them really, like even walking in, I felt very like this wasn't what I wanted. And somehow having the interview at Code Authority, I was like, this is what I want. I don't really know what I'm agreeing to yet, but this is it. Yeah. Like there's something about it that immediately drew me to working there. Especially again, the smaller company has just like a more tight-knit feel to it. But no, I don't think it was too terribly difficult.
I know my first interview, I was like kind of freaking out in a way, because I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what they're gonna ask.
Yeah.
Were you comfortable, or did you do any kind of preparation?
I think that and again, this just works for me.
Right.
I think going in and fearing, like going in with a kind of fear, it's very noticeable, and it makes you seem less confident. I was very confident in the things that I was not confident about, and very open about it. And doing that makes me able to be more relaxed, and I feel like that played very well with interviewers, not just at Code Authority, but at other places as well. Yeah. Being very transparent and saying like, okay, I'm really good at these things, and just not lying, because they're going to find it out, and you don't want to lie about what you actually don't know about.
Do you see yourself staying in this industry for the rest of your life?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Between my business partners and just having a general interest in it, I definitely see myself in it. Maybe not working as much in front end stuff, but slowly transitioning to be like just a back end developer, maybe even software engineering. But I've recently really gotten into like the DevOps and architecture of projects more. That's, I think, more long term, but in the immediate, I definitely see myself doing what I'm doing now for at least the next 5 to 10 years.
So I mean, that being said, right now your role is software developer. Is that your official role? Okay. Yes. So do you have like a path that you're following, that you want to go to maybe senior dev or architect, or like what's your plan?
I'm not entirely too certain yet. I definitely want to at some point be a project manager, so I can have a higher up perspective of like everything, and being able to orchestrate things a little more, but also being able to get in and like contribute Because again, like I'm just drawn to wanting to write code.
Yeah, I mean that I've seen project managers when I was working at a consulting company too. I saw a couple of project managers that were like that. They would manage, they would get the bird's eye on the project and manage it, but also they would jump in and start coding with the head. So versus other people, some people don't like to do that.
Yeah.
Once they get into project manager, they only want to just do project management and that's it. So that's good that you want to do that. Do you value title more than responsibility, or what's most important for you in your career?
The title doesn't matter. Being known as the like C# guy or the Razor guy or the React Native or Xamarin or the Angular guy, like those kinds of titles mean more to me than like, oh, he's the senior dev, or oh, he's the DevOps person, or the DevOps engineer. Just knowing that people respect your skill means more to me.
So then do you have an ultimate title you want to get? So like, do you want to be a CIO at one point, or you want to start your own company, or do you have any kind of big plans like that?
I mean, with my startups, I am CTO of all three of them.
Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like that's a little pretentious of me to say that like I'm the CTO of this thing, but like it really is that easy if you are in this field. But it's fun to be able to work on my own things and be able to get paid on my own things.
Right. So talking about industry a little bit here, how competitive do you think is the industry out there for software developers? Do you think there's more developers than jobs, or jobs?
No, I definitely think that there are more jobs than developers. You have a lot of leverage if you have any amount of experience to point back to. But no, I think that anyone who's like, I just want like 3 certs and a job, you're gonna find a job.
Pretty easy.
You're gonna find a job. If I wanted to suggest something that was easy to learn and marketable immediately, I would think that the most marketable skill right now would be React Native and like just React in general. It's the flashiest, people like it, and businesses want to incorporate those flashy things on their website.
Yeah.
And a lot of places already have their like infrastructure in place. They just want a more modern looking front end. And React is fairly easy. It's well supported, well documented. You can go and pick it up. I like the hello world is maybe 10 minutes.
Finally, if someone's watching right now that's in school, fresh out of school, or just struggling finding a job, what would you recommend them to do?
I think that if you're struggling straight out of school to find a job, and you want to do software development, working in public GitHub, making your own GitHub repository, making it public, showing off the different technologies you're using, and the things you want to be working on. And they don't need to be like these great fantastical things. They just need to show that you actually have an interest in it, that you put forth the effort to self-teach yourself, because very few schools actually teach you how to make a GitHub repository. Here's how you put this project here. This is how you manage your own project, basically. But just working on like a weather app that like makes an API request and just displays stuff and stuff like that, it helps.
Yeah.
And once you get started down that path, you will keep finding new cool little tricks to add to your projects. And you add that to your GitHub, and you clean that up and you put that on your resume and say, hey, I know I don't have experience, but this is what I can do.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like when some people ask me like what can they do out of school to get a job or enhance their chances of getting a job, usually what I tell them is just almost treat it as you are getting projects just for the quantity, just so you can put it on a resume, and they mean absolutely nothing. In reality, what you're gonna find out down the road is that they were actually not just the quantity. You learn stuff, because you will always learn stuff out of just random projects. But while you're in school, it may not make sense, but just do stuff. Whatever, just do things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, like you said, trash code. You need to write trash code.
Yeah.
That's how you learn like what is inefficient, what could work better. But if you're afraid of like not making the most efficient code, you're never gonna start.
Well, cool. Thank you for coming into this video. I hope that the people that are watching this video is gonna get a lot out of it. Overall, with the channel, what we want to do is we want to give the resources to the people and insights about the industry from within. So that if they want to be successful and they're struggling, or they're in school and they just want to know what software engineering, software development is about, that way they can have some idea of what it's like from our perspective when we're already in the career. So thank you again for being in this video. There was some great stuff that we covered here.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I really do hope that people do get something from my insight, if any.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, man.
Thank
Have
you
a good
again.
one.